Hi everybody, this is Jessica with Be You Bloom. I have a question for you. Why do you think leadership training programs actually fail for the most part? In fact, you spend billions and billions of dollars on bringing in these amazing leadership training programs to your leaders, to your management, to your staff. And the research is showing that really across almost 40 years, there hasn't been any real significant change that's measurable or meaningful. And also last night I was reading an article in Forbes that talked about the return on investment only being about 2%. That's pretty dismal. So I want to invite you to answer that question because there's so many reasons why these programs can fail. What has been your personal experience, whether you are in leadership or management or you're a staff member? Why do you think these programs tend to fail? I'm going to share as a behaviorist and someone who is a corporate educator why I believe this happens. And I'm going to take you through some of the highlights from this article in Forbes. Now, first and foremost, I just want to say, when you go to your work, you don't leave your personality home. You don't say, hey, personality, I will see you later. My life history, my life script, my past, everything that's embedded in my autonomic nervous system and how I respond and perceive the world, I'll see you later. I'm going over there with a clean slate. So first and foremost, understand it is not church and state. We are bringing our whole personality, our whole identity into our workspace. That's clue number one. So here we go. Barbara Kellerman from Harvard said that the leadership industry has, over the roughly 40 years, like I said, hasn't really given any major, meaningful, measurable way to improve the human condition. Notice how she says the human condition. She doesn't say improve productivity. Why? Because she's very attuned to the fact that when we want to improve productivity, we need to care about the personal human condition of our employees. Again, we're not leaving some of ourselves at home and just showing up in a different way. We're bringing all of ourselves. And even if you don't think you are, you are. It happens on such a subconscious level that we are in automatic pilot largely while we're at the workplace. So do we care about the human condition of our employees? Because when we do, that's a personal investment in the employee that they feel cared about, they feel respected and appreciated in a meaningful way. And then in turn, they show up that way for you, for your organization, including your leadership as well. So a study by the Corporate Leadership Council supports her assertions, finding that we're spending billions and billions of dollars and only 2% on return of investment. Now I say we because I've been on the other end working for organizations for nearly 20 years, building their teams, handling their marketing, their branding, some PR, as well as business development. And so I was on the receiving end of bringing in people for us as well. And what would happen oftentimes is we have people that would come in and they'd be amazing at motivating our team and getting our heart rates going. We're ready to go. I've also, as an executive, attended conferences with over 5,000 people and the keynote is brilliant. And that's their job. Their job is to go in and motivate. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. The trouble is sustaining the change for the long term. And even with academics and researchers that I get to really learn from what the latest research is, because I'm a researcher now, I love to have the data behind what I teach as well. But my focus is on execution. Execution is everything. That is the failure of our ideas, our new habits, our businesses is the failure of execution. And their job is to bring us the data. Now you bring in people who are going to show you theories and data, and there's a disconnect because if I say, well, how do you execute that data, which I've said at conferences before, how do you execute that? And the answer is, well, I don't know, I just present the data. Okay, that's great. You're showing us how to have more meaningful engagement at work. Then why is it important? You're showing us, what the outcomes are if we do this, but how do we actually execute that? And that is the area of specialty that I focus on because changing habits and changing identities and creating the new identity of who you want to be and who you want your culture and your organization to be is extremely difficult until you understand what it takes. So Professor Jeffrey Pfeffer said, the dismal return on investment can be traced to the fact that much of leadership training and development has become a form of lay preaching. We're going to have to be honest here. Isn't that true? A form of lay preaching. If you do this, you'll feel great and you'll feel more positive and do this positive affirmations. And it's very general. It's kind of like I want to lose, 10 pounds in January, but there's no execution plan. You're not showing them how to override the operating system. The operating system, which is on autopilot, this person, this identity right here, where 95% of my behaviors are automatic and I'm not even aware that I'm even doing that, right? How am I impacting my own feelings at work and how I express at work, right? And how I lead at work? How is that tied into my life script? Because newsflash, our workplace is our second family. We bring in all that baggage of how we received and processed data, how people made us feel, and that leader can remind you of a parent or someone who created a pain point in your life, and you don't even realize why you're being so triggered. So when we really address the human condition, that is a personal buy-in for the employee or leader to say, hey, you know, if I really understand this cognitively and really bring it into, really bring in the commitment to making this change sustain, that's only going to benefit me. Guys, we're human beings. Like, I know we're sharing, caring, big-hearted people. I have a huge heart for people. Ultimately, very organically and naturally, we tend to really care about ourselves and really want to protect ourselves. So if you show people that you're actually showing them something that actually benefits them, even when they're serving somebody else, how their body physiologically changes, their gene expression, their autonomic nervous system, and what they're conditioning themselves to become, and you show them that their future is going to look a whole lot different if they do the work now you're building intrinsic motivation. Another two important words tied to human condition. You need to build intrinsic motivation. If I motivate you just from the outside and I leave, you're going to fall flat after a month or two and you're going back to the old behavior. That's just automatic. Most people revert right back to their baseline. So you have to show people how to override the operating manual that they have built the entire years they've been yourself. So this was interesting. One out of two employees, 50% of employees, I think this was related to toxic work environments, leave their jobs at some point because their leaders are so bad that they literally feel that they're ruining their lives. They're not saying ruining my career, they're saying ruining my entire life. So we need to care about the human condition that covers the entire life, not just I just care about you producing at work. You see what I'm saying? So if these are the pain points, we look at pain points, we need to address them. That will help us move things further along and not just be sort of this overarching, theory message and feel good for the moment and then nothing really changes. So if there's a solution, if we as leaders want to actually improve engagement and increase productivity or attitudes at work, we must look beyond superficial incentives like food incentives and bonuses, although I like them both, especially the food. We have to break free of regressive management and financial theories. Instead, we must understand what truly drives people. We want to understand what makes them happy. We need to understand that. And it's not just this fluffy happiness thing. I just did on Friday a very casual one on touch and touch research and how critical it is to human existence, period. And now where we are, the way we are operating our work lives is so different, so distant. I want you to be armed with how to counteract that personally and at work. Because I care about you and your personal improvement. How you feel on the inside is how you're going to show up on the outside. It's going to affect everything you do. So that's why we need to care about that. I thought this was great. So when people, we should stop letting endless statistics and the latest research gimmicks blind us to the most basic human motives, such as people want respect, they want meaningful connection and fulfillment. Because when people leave their offices feeling a greater sense of personal fulfillment, they'll want to come back, focus on tougher projects, and even work harder. And so it's a reciprocal effect, and they go home with a much different personality than stress or anxiety or future pacing, or thinking about the past and replaying it and reminiscent thoughts that are on repeat cycle that are not helpful. So we can, by doing this kind of work in the workplace, which is a great place to automate new habits, because you're already operating from that mind space, we now impact their family structures, how they impact their children, their relationships with their spouses. Now their workplace is benefiting them in all areas of their life. You can imagine how they show up for work the next day wanting to be there. As Javier Padaval, an automotive executive, said, leadership today is about unlearning management, and relearning being human. Relearning being human. So what are your thoughts? I'm so curious to hear what your thoughts are as to what would be better. What could we do to help you sustain these programs? What can people offer you that is so much more of value? Where are people missing the boat? Why are these programs failing? Let's start that meaningful dialogue today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Jessica with Be You Bloom. We'll talk soon.